I want to start today by looking at two dates. They're sitting right here in the metadata of the files we're looking at. And honestly, they feel less like timestamps and more like, I don't know, the start and end dates on a tombstone.
Wow, that is a pretty grim way to start a deep dive.
Maybe, but look at the difference. The first date is May 14th, 2010. The second is February 9th, 2026.
16 years apart.
Exactly. And we are staring at the exact same patch of Earth in West Palm Beach, Florida. But if I didn't have the GPS coordinates to prove it, I would bet money these were two different planets.
It's definitely a shock to the system. I mean, what we're looking at here is 16 years of what urban planners would probably call hyperdevelopment.
Hyperdevelopment. That sounds so polite. Looking at these photos side by side, it feels more like a hostile takeover. We've got a time travel scenario.
Oh,
Photo A from 2010 is this lush, wide-open horizontal world. Photo B from 2026 is, well, it's a wall.
a shadow wall, you could call it.
Right. And before we dive in, I have to point out this one tiny detail that I think defines the whole story. On the 2026 photo, down in the corner, there's a default camera watermark. It just says Galaxy A52 5G.
Ah, which implies this isn't some professional architectural shot.
Exactly. This isn't a developer's glossy marketing render, with the happy people drinking wine on a balcony. This is a snapshot taken by a resident. This is someone waking up, pouring their coffee, looking out their window, and just realizing their entire view has been replaced by a concrete slab.
And that perspective is crucial. We aren't just critiquing architecture today, we're analyzing the user experience of a city that is rapidly rewriting itself.
So our mission today is to figure out what happened in those 16 years. How did we get from a tropical paradise to a high-rise hub? And I really want to know, is this progress, or did we just pave over the soul of the neighborhood?
It's a really complex question because soul is subjective, but density, well, that's mathematical. And what we are seeing here is the friction between the two.
Let's start with the before. Take me back to May 14th, 2010. I'm looking at this image, and I swear, my shoulders just dropped 2 inches. It's relaxing just to look at.
It really is. It triggers a very specific kind of rest and digest response.
Yeah.
What jumps out at you first?
The green. It's overwhelming, but in a good way. It looks like a town that was carefully placed inside a forest. You see these white and beige buildings, but they're low. 2 stories, maybe 3.
Hmm.
They have pitched tile roofs. They feel humble.
That's what we call human scale. The architecture is built relative to the size of a person, not a machine. You know, a
Yeah.
three-story building frames the street. It doesn't dominate it.
And the biggest thing for me is the horizon. You can see forever. Way in the back, past the tree line, there's this distinct blue strip.
Mm.
And sticking up out of it are these little white triangles.
The sailboats.
Right. You can actually see the masts of sailboats on the intracoastal or the ocean. Even though this photo is taken from blocks away, that visual cue tells you exactly where you are. You're on the coast, you're near the water.
That is a concept called visual breathability. Your eye can travel uninterrupted until it hits the horizon, and psychologically, that creates a sense of possibility and, well, openness. In 2010, that view of the water was a public asset. You didn't have to live on the beach to see the beach.
It feels democratic, like the view belonged to the entire neighborhood. And looking down at the street level, I can see these little red cars driving along. They don't look like toys, they look like normal cars. The buildings aren't just looming over them.
It's all balanced, and look at the light.
It's everywhere. It's a partly cloudy day, but the sun is hitting the roofs, the street, the trees. There are no deep, dark shadows.
Because there's nothing tall enough to cast them. In this 2010 ecosystem, the tallest vertical element is the palm tree.
They look majestic, actually. These tall, skinny palm trees just poking up above the roof lines. It gives you that classic old Florida vibe. You can almost smell the salt air and the humidity just looking at it.
It's what you'd call a porous landscape. The wind can move through it, the light can move through it. It feels breathable because physically it is.
Okay, so that's the paradise we lost. Now, brace yourself. We are jumping to February 9, 2026.
The contrast is jarring.
It's violent. The color palette completely shifts. We've gone from soft greens and blues to these hard grays, safety orange, and deep shadows. It doesn't look like a neighborhood anymore. It looks like the inside of a machine.
We have officially entered the era of the concrete curtain.
That is a terrifying name, by the way.
I think it fits. A curtain blocks the light and the view. And that is exactly what's happening here. The first thing that really dominates the 2026 frame isn't a building, it's the equipment that's building it.
Yeah, right in the center, just piercing the sky, is this massive blue tower crane. It's like the new steeple of the city.
And underneath it,
There's this bright pinkish red mechanical arms stretching across the whole frame. It looked like a cyborg limb. It's just hovering over the site like it's about to perform surgery or something.
That's a concrete boom pump. And it's a fascinating, if aggressive, piece of engineering. See, when you build this high, you can't haul wet cement up in buckets. That arm is a pressurized pipe pumping liquid concrete hundreds of feet into the air.
So it's literally piping the new city into existence.
Gallon by gallon, yeah.
It looks so sci-fi. But let's talk about what it's actually building. Because this doesn't look like a normal apartment building. It looks like a bunker.
This is where we need to get a little technical to understand the why of it all. You're looking at that massive windowless concrete slab at the bottom, right?
Yeah. It takes up the whole bottom half of the photo. It's ugly, frankly. It looks like a fortress wall.
That is the podium. And the reason it exists is specifically because we are in Florida.
How so?
Well, in a city like New York or Chicago, if you need parking for a 30-story tower, you just dig a hole. You put the cars underground.
Okay, sure.
You can't dig a hole in West Palm Beach.
The what?
The water table is incredibly high. If you dig down 10 feet, you hit water. You'd be parking your car in a swimming pool. So developers have no choice. They have to take all the parking required for hundreds of residents and stack it above ground.
So that massive concrete block at the base of the tower is just a garage.
Likely 5 to 8 stories of just car storage. And that is why the human scale is gone. In 2010, the street level had apartments, windows, porches. In 2026, the street level is a blank concrete wall hiding Buicks.
That explains that canyon feeling. You'd be walking next to a wall, not a home.
Exactly. It pushes the actual living part of the building way up into the sky, completely detaching it from the street.
And speaking of detachment, I'm trying to find the people in this 2026 photo. In 2010, the cars and people felt part of the scene. Here,
Okay, I think I see them.
there are construction workers in those neon yellow vests.
And do they look like people?
No, they look like ants. They are tiny specks walking along these rebar-laden decks. It just emphasizes how massive this structure is. The building wasn't built for them. They're just servicing the beast.
That's the shift in scale. We've gone from an environment measured in human footsteps to one measured in thousands of tons of reinforced concrete.
And what happened to the nature? The palm trees.
Look closely at the very bottom edge of the frame underneath the slab.
Oh, wow. I completely missed them at first. You could just barely see the tops of a few palm fronds.
They're completely dwarfed.
They look like weeds growing in a basement window. In 2010, they were the kings of the skyline. Now, they're literally overshadowed by the parking garage.
It's a literal and metaphorical overshadowing. The natural element, the very thing that made the location desirable in the first place, has been relegated to the bottom of the hierarchy.
This brings me back to our photographer, the person holding the Galaxy A52.
Our protagonist.
Right. Let's just speculate about them for a second.
Yeah.
They probably live in one of those older buildings, one that was there in 2010. They used to look out and see sailboats. They used to have that visual breathability. Now, they open their curtains, and they're staring at a concrete pump.
They're staring at the back of the shadow wall.
It feels like something was stolen from them. But here's the thing. The view isn't gone, is it?
No, not at all. The view is still there. It's just been elevated.
Right. The people who buy the condos on the 20th floor of this new tower, they're going to have an amazing view of the ocean, probably better than the 2010 view.
Exactly. The view has been privatized. In 2010, the view was a kind of common good because the buildings were low enough that everyone could see over them. Now you have to pay a premium to access the horizon. The Galaxy A52 user lost their asset so the penthouse owner could gain theirs.
It's the gentrification of the sky.
That's a very apt way to put it.
Yeah.
And it creates this paradox we see in desirable cities everywhere. Why do people move to West Palm Beach in the first place?
To see the water, to feel the sun.
Right. But to accommodate all the people who want to see the water, developers build structures that block the water for everyone who is already there.
It's like standing up at a concert.
Go on.
If everyone sits down, everyone can see the stage. But as soon as the person in the front row stands up to get a better view,
Second row have to stand up. And then the third.
and eventually everyone is standing on their tiptoes, are uncomfortable, and nobody can see anything except the back of the person in front of them.
That is precisely the concrete curtain. We destroy the view in our very attempt to capture it.
And it's not just about aesthetics, is it? I've heard about this blue mind theory. Is that relevant here?
Oh, extremely relevant. Blue mind is the scientific study of how being near, in, or even just seeing water affects the brain.
So it's not just some kind of hippie talk.
No, it's neurobiology. Seeing water has been shown to lower cortisol levels. It reduces heart rate and stress. It puts the brain into a mildly meditative state.
So living in that 2010 environment was actually good for your mental health.
Yes, you were getting daily microdoses of blue mind. Now just imagine the psychological impact of the 2026 view.
Gray concrete, rebar, machinery.
It's high contrast, high stress visual input. Instead of a horizon that lets your eye rest, you have a wall that stops your gaze dead. You are likely increasing the baseline anxiety of the resident just by changing the view out their window.
So we've traded a calming, healthy environment for a stressful industrial one. But I have to play devil's advocate here, or our listeners will say we're just being nostalgic in MB-wise.
Fair point, absolutely.
People need places to live. Florida is booming. You can't house 1 million new people in 2-story garden apartments. The math just doesn't work.
No, you're absolutely right. Density is necessary. It's actually more environmentally friendly in the long run to pack people into cities than to just sprawl out into the Everglades.
And economically, this construction site is a powerhouse. I mean, it represents jobs, tax revenue, retail space. That sleepy 2010 town probably didn't generate the kind of money this 2026 hub does.
All true. But the critique here isn't that we are building, it's how we are building.
Could we have done it differently?
And that's the frustrating part. Yes, we could have mandated slimmer towers that allow light and air to pass through. We could have restricted the width of those podiums so they don't create a continuous wall at street level.
But that costs more, I'm guessing.
It's less efficient. A big, fat concrete block maximizes square footage and parking. It's the path of least resistance for the developer, but the path of maximum resistance for the neighbor.
It's the borrowed view problem. I guess the lesson here is don't fall in love with a view you don't own.
That is the hard truth of real estate. Unless you own the air rights in front of your window, you are just borrowing that horizon. And in a growing city, the bank can call that loan at any time.
That is a chilling thought. You think your home is your sanctuary, this static backdrop? But the city is fluid. It's like a slow-motion explosion.
And we just don't notice the debris field until we look at photos 16 years apart.
And that Galaxy A52 user. They're living in the debris field.
They are. And consider the physical environment, too. That 2010 photo looked breezy. You could feel the air moving.
The 2026 photo looks stifling.
It is. That much concrete creates a heat island. It absorbs solar radiation all day and then radiates it out all night. And that wall, it blocks the sea breeze. So the neighborhood isn't just uglier, it is literally hotter.
So we traded cool and calm for hot and anxious.
In exchange for density and status, that is the transaction.
This isn't just West Palm Beach, though, right? I feel like I've seen this movie before.
It's playing in every theater. Austin, Nashville, Manchester, Melbourne. Any city that becomes desirable goes through this cannibalization phase.
We love the quaint green vibe, so we all move there. And by moving there, we force it to become a concrete canyon.
We hug it to death.
So what's the takeaway for our listener today? Maybe they're seeing a crane go up down the street. Maybe they're thinking about buying a place with a great view.
I think the takeaway is to look at the negative space. Don't just look at the shiny new building. Look at what is being subtracted. Look at the shadows.
And ask yourself, is this building adding to the street or is it turning its back on it?
Exactly. And if you are buying that view, check who owns the lot in front of you. Because if it's a parking lot today, it's a podium tomorrow.
It's a sobering reality check.
Hmm.
We tend to celebrate the skyline growing up, but we rarely mourn the horizon getting shut out.
We gain a metropolis, but we lose the sunset.
On that cheerful note, I want to leave you with one final image. Think of those palm trees in the 2026 photo, the ones barely peeking out from under that concrete slab.
The survivors.
Yeah, they're still there, trying to catch a little bit of sun, just like the rest of us down here at street level.
Keep looking up.
And pay attention to what might be blocking the light. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.